Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So, lately I've been teaching how alchemy is used in hoodoo, voodoo, palo, and mountain conjuring. I'm going to be explaining today how we use LED in hoodoo. Lead was the first of the 7 metals of alchemy, along with gold, silver, mercury, copper, iron, and tin. Lead, yes, the heavy metal lead is used in hoodoo to heal spiritual disorders. Melting lead through a loaf of whole bread to cure spiritual disorders. Curing spiritual afflictions by pouring molten lead or tin through the hole in the loaf of bread is so old and common a method in trolldom that many professional practitioners call by names such as bliguma, lead old woman, or smeltguma, melting old woman, used only this way of curing. Some practitioners added their profession to their baptismal names, so they were called Bly Anna, Lead Anna, Smelt Britta, Melting Britta, and the like. I can't give too much, so I'm going to go in on what I can and try to paint a vision in your head on how these rituals was done. Now I know what you're thinking. Lead? Isn't that dangerous? Absolutely. Lead is toxic, but in hoodoo, it's not about ingesting or physically coming into contact with it. Here is how the metal melting cure is done. Melt some lead or tin in a small saucepan. Pour some water into a bowl. Preferably this should be well water bought from a well on a Thursday in a waning moon and paid for with an offering. Put a whole bread over the bowl of water and hold it over the head of the spiritually afflicted person as he or she lies down on a bed. Pour the melted lead or tin through the hole in the bread and into the water. Repeat the process, holding the bowl over the chest of the person and then a third time over the feet of the person. The bowl and bread are then put under the bed and the afflicted person sleeps there overnight. The procedure should take place in absolute silence and no one must enter or exit the doors while it is going on. All windows must also be shut. In the morning, the water and bread are taken to a crossroad or cemetery and disposed of by tossing them in and walking away without looking back. In some cases, the remains are disposed of in 4 different places representing the 4 elements. Mountains or hilltops represent air or weather, which is the more correct description according to the old folks of trolldom. The stove represents fire. A running stream or river symbolizes water. The cemetery stands for earth. In other cases, the remains are disposed of in only one of the 4 elemental places. To determine which element should be used, the spirits of the elements are called out when pouring the lead, and the strongest hissing sound produced by the hot lead hitting the cold water will be heard when mentioning the right element. The remains are disposed of only in a place representing that particular element, and by doing so, the malady is returned to the right place. Various nature spirits are occasionally mentioned instead of elementals, and the remains are then disposed of at the location of these spirits, such as in the forest spirits, cemetery, the dead, a neighbor's farm, the spirits of their farm or their tomb, and so on. This can be translated to spirits of various places in an urban area as well. Some workers add 8 other things to the lead or tin while it is melting, making 9 things in total. This goes back to an early Bronze Age Scandinavian belief that all things exist in 9 worlds and must thus be counted by 9s. One of its key components is the use of everyday materials imbued with spiritual significance, and lead is one of those fascinating elements. In hoodoo, lead is typically associated with protection, banishment, and negativity absorption due to its heavy weight and historical use as a barrier against evil spirits. It's often used in spells meant to ward off negative energy or to bind a harmful influence. Lead is also seen as a potent symbol of transformation and protection. In alchemy, it represents the base state of the soul, a starting point for spiritual growth and purification. Lead was an important part of alchemy and had many meanings and uses. The oldest metal, lead, was the first of the 7 metals of alchemy, along with gold, silver, mercury, copper, iron, and tin. The base metal, alchemists considered lead to be the lowest of metals and the starting point for all metals. They believed that lead matured into other metals over time. The Philosopher's Stone alchemists used chemical methods to try to turn lead into gold using the Philosopher's Stone, a mythical substance that was said to enable this process, the planet Saturn. The symbol for lead was also used to represent the planet Saturn in astrology. Alchemists would often refer to metals by their planetary names, such as Saturn for lead. Red lead. When heated, lead turns red, which symbolized its potential and the connection between matter and soul. In ancient herbalism, lead was considered a foundational drug for longevity. Tree of lead. When lead acetate reacts with zinc, it forms small crystals that grow into a tree-like shape. Ancient alchemists believed this proved that metal was alive. When used properly, lead can absorb negative energies and help cleanse the spiritual body. A common hoodoo practice involves creating a lead charm or amulet. These are often small pieces of lead inscribed with symbols or words of power. The process of creating these charms is a ritual in itself, meant to focus intent and channel spiritual energy. Imagine carrying a small piece of lead, charged with your personal intentions, acting as a shield against spiritual disturbances. It's like having a constant guardian by your side, absorbing negativity and replacing it with positive vibrations. Another fascinating use of lead in hoodoo is in spiritual baths. Here, lead filings or small lead objects are used in conjunction with herbs and oils. The bath isn't about physical cleansing, but spiritual purification. It's believed that the LED draws out impurities from your aura, leaving you feeling refreshed and spiritually renewed. But remember, lead is toxic, so always handle it with care. Use gloves, work in well-ventilated areas, and never ever ingest it. Consulting a knowledgeable practitioner is essential before incorporating lead into your spiritual practices. So, there you have it, a glimpse into the mystical world of hoodoo and the transformative power of lead. Thanks for watching, and if you found this video enlightening, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Until next time, stay spiritually curious.